Hello, everybody, and welcome.
No, it's CoCo Show.
There you go, CoCo, and welcome to 2023 CoCo Show Christmas Spectacular. Yay! I'm your good pal, your good buddy, and your favorite Santa, Amigo Aaron. Joined by everyone's favorite elf, it's the Brent.
I have a question, Aaron.
Okay, what's your question, the elf Brent?
The elves were in that little opening.
Yeah.
The elves were making the CoCos, right?
For those listening at home, the Spectral Associates CoCo Christmas demo, CoCo 3 demo, where the elves are making the CoCos. Yes, correct.
Right. Okay, and then they load them in a truck and sell them to Radio Shack and make Santa go buy them.
That's true. You made a valid point there. I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. Those little scumbags. I mean, they did do that. They made Santa go buy them one at a time. By the way, that CoCo store was out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I mean, that's fair.
The old Radio Shack. Well, listen, hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and joining us for another edition of the CoCo Show. You know, Elf Brent, it's the Christmas season, you know. And I thought before we kicked into the games, because we got double trouble for Christmas this year. 2 big games in the stocking. Before we get into it, I want to talk a little bit about your CoCo or personal computer Christmas memories. I bring this up during the season because I always enjoy it. And for me, growing up, one of my all-time favorite gifts for Christmas was TRS-80 color computer related stuff. And you were right there for some of that stuff. Do you remember anything about what?
No, I was too young.
Do you remember? Have you ever gotten any Christmas gifts, computer-related Christmas gifts that really hit home with you, and stuck with you?
I mean, actually, for Christmas?
Yeah.
That was a computer? No.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you what, you're killing it. So let me...
Sorry, man.
It's funny because I remember your reaction. So our dad got us a color computer.
If someone else was excited, I'm sure I was excited, too.
You were. But our dad got us a color computer, but not for Christmas. But we didn't use it for the longest time because we didn't know how to do anything on it. It just sat there. Me and Dad would... And eventually I learned that you could get magazines and type in programs, you know, so I did that, you know. And then we learned about, we had the cassettes, we'd get some copies. But the best Christmas gift I ever got was my CoCo external floppy drive with the controller. It was the happiest day of my life, and I remember this specifically. And I've told this story before how I got this thing, and I was so excited. And I'd gotten a bunch of discs for it from people, you know, all of it bootleg, of course. Because that's how you do it. And then I would get this thing out on Christmas Day, and I'm playing with this thing, and it's on our desk in my mom and dad's house, which is literally right down the street here. And I would sit down and play with this thing and just load disc after disc into it. It was so much fun. It was so much better than having the cassette drive. Because we had that cassette for quite a while.
Yeah.
But the problem...
In fact, I don't remember the cassette at all.
The problem is that every Christmas, we'd open the gifts, then we'd go to Mama's house. My mama and papa, and they lived out in a place called Cabin Creek, West Virginia.
Which was not right down the street.
It's about an hour away, but it's out... After they built the interstate, yeah. It was. But it took a while to get there. But it was way out in the sticks, right? I was so disappointed that I had to leave. So Mom and Dad agreed to let me pack up the CoCo, the floppy disk controller, the disk drive, and all the discs, and a TV, and put them in the car, and take them to my mama's house, and they built me a little desk in the living room, and I sat down and played with them, because we would spend the night that night. So we spent the night, I had a glorious night, and it's one of those old houses, sort of like where we're at today here if you're watching the video. It's a lovely fireplace going, had the big tree. It's a classic country
Except they didn't have
Christmas.
a fireplace.
They did have a fireplace.
Not one they ever used.
Well, they occasionally would use it. But it was lovely. And my granny always made the best food. Those were the most, and it felt, you know, when you look back on your Christmas memories, you have those warm Christmas memories. It had that 70s glow to it, too. The 70s and early 80s glow where everything's sort of orangey in my mind because that's the way it was. Listen, if you had to summarize the 70s and early 80s in the color, it's orange, in my opinion. That kind of, you know, weird brownish orange. That was the color. That's the color of everything. You know.
All right.
Could you pick a color for the 80s and early 90s?
I can pick one for the early '90s. Gray.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you're not wrong there. You know, we had a clarion call out this week to ask folks to give us some of the nominations for a couple Christmas games to try out. Well, a couple is what we got because it turns out there's not a ton of Christmas games on the CoCo, and a lot of the games that are out there aren't so good, Al. And a lot of them are just basic games. I mean, literally, they're in basic. I tried a couple, and I was like, yeah, even by our lofty standards, these were the lower end efforts. I mean, what do you want? They were written a zillion years ago, you know, by people who were doing the best they could. So we decided to go with two kind of ringers here that we're going to talk about. You ready to get into them?
Let's get into
them. All right, so we're going to start off our game retrospective here with Timberman Christmas Edition. Timberman Christmas Edition. Now, you'll recall, Brent, the first year of Boat Fest.
Yes.
We ran a series.
No AC.
We ran a series. Well, they got it on eventually.
Well, well, you asked me what I remember about it.
They ran a series of gaming contests. And one of the most popular gaming contest games was Timberman.
Yep.
And Timberman, they had such a heated battle that I believe ultimately ended in a tie.
No, I lost to
I thought that
one of Pat's
I didn't
kids.
think you were even in the running for that.
No, it was me and Pat's kid.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yep.
So you were in the running, so you have an intimate knowledge of Timberman then.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So let me talk about this real quick. This game is done. This is the CoCo 3 Timberman, which is apparently a clone of the mobile app. Now this is the Timberman Christmas Edition, and in this particular version, you get to play as Santa Claus, and it's snowing.
You can play as Santa.
It's got a festive feel. This is it does have a festive feel, don't you think?
Sure.
This is a Pete Thayer joint, the old Thayer, who has also done another game that we ran on the show, which was CoCo Bond. That was one me and Bo covered a while back. He's done another game called, I looked over his itch.io page. He's done another game called Hotel Elevator Man, which that sounds like right up our alley, but I don't think it's for CoCo. So, Timberman, this is the description here, and we'll build off of it.
All right.
Timberman is a game of quick reaction. You got that right. It starts out slow and increases with each level until it becomes unimaginably fast, and you die all the time because you're out of time. Now that doesn't give you a whole lot of description.
Yeah, that's not how I would describe it.
You were the second best boat fester at this. How would you explain Timberman Christmas Edition?
Well, Timberman, you are a lumberjack, and you are chopping sections out of an incredibly tall tree.
Right.
And
it never ends, does it?
You stand on either the left or the right-hand side, and every time you chop a section out of the tree. The tree comes straight down and allows you to chop again.
Right.
The challenge of this game is as you chop, the limbs of the tree are coming down on you. So if a limb is on the left-hand side, you need to be on the right-hand side. And there's never limbs on both sides of the tree, so you could always dodge to the left or right.
Right.
Also, the tree is not just continuously falling. It only comes down when you actually strike the tree. So you might think, well, that's going to be incredibly easy. You could just go really slow and you would never die. Well, in the beginning, that's totally possible.
That's what I did.
However, there is a bar at the bottom of the screen that the faster you tap, left or right, to be on the left or right-hand side of the screen, is how fast that bar fills up.
Yeah.
And as you go through the level, that bar will decrease more quickly. So it gets to the point where if you aren't hitting the button as fast as you can, then the bar will deplete and you'll lose that way. So it becomes a balancing act of how fast can you go to stay safe versus keeping this bar topped off so you don't lose the game.
Right.
And every whack of the tree gives you a point.
That's all you need to know about it. Now, do you recall, because I obviously I don't have the jack that you do at this game. This game is sort of made for a guy like you. Do you remember what level you were able to attain in this? Like how far?
I know my high score when I played this this week was 437. I don't know what level that equates to.
Yeah, okay, that's way better than what I did. So, with all that said, do you like the game?
It's a good high score game. This was perfect for a thing like Boat Fest, where you could get in there, because games typically only take you, I mean, if you do really, really well, it might only take you 4 or 5 minutes to play the game.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's exactly what you want out of a high score game. There isn't any way to get multipliers or score increasers. It's literally just how far can you go.
Yeah.
Which, that's a little bit of a bummer, because there's no risk versus reward. You get a point no matter if you hit the tree fast or if you hit it slow. It would have been kind of neat to say, if your bar is all the way maxed out and you hit the tree, you get 2 points instead of 1, because that would give you incentive to go fast even when you don't have to.
All right.
But to my knowledge, they didn't do that. And that it's fine, because it's a game you just, very simple. No, it takes no effort to learn how to play the game, and you just get in there and you go.
Right. I will say, of course, this is the Christmas edition, and so you get, of course, you've got a lumberjack. Now, apparently, Kirsch just mentioned this in the chat. You can, as you play through this, you can unlock multiple
skins.
Yeah,
new skins.
But they don't do anything, right?
No, they're just visual.
So in the Christmas edition, of course, you're playing as Santa by default. Santa has his outfit on, and he's whacking the tree with a candy cane.
And he is a square shoulder man.
He is. He's a square. But I mean, I think this is a cute game. It's got enough Christmassiness in it to make it a Christmas edition. I'll buy it. It's snowing out there, and it looks festive. It's a fun game. You can see how this would have its roots in like a cell phone game, where you can just sort of tap either side of the screen and make it happen.
Yeah.
But it actually, as a CoCo game, I think it works quite well. I mean, it is exactly what it is. It's not deep. It's one of those little twitchy gimmicks. You know, it's sort of like the never-ending jump, the runner thing. Well, you've got a Flappy Bird, something like that. You've got one angle, you use it, you move on.
It's a get you in, get you out game.
Yeah.
This thing's not trying to be deep. It's trying to be exactly what it is. Get in there, play a few rounds, see what score you can get, try to beat it later.
Let me ask you a question about strategy in this, because this is me playing, by the way.
Okay.
I apologize in advance. But I got to the point where I ignored everything but the little hands and the limbs. Because when you tap, because you can, like, for example, just because your guy's on one side, you can sort of have your little tappy hand on the other side waiting to flip over when you hit the button. And so I started ignoring everything but the little hands and found myself getting better at the game. Is that how you did it?
No.
Well, you couldn't give me a little, could you?
I mean, you only have to worry about being on one side or the other when you hit the button. So the only thing that truly matters is where the limb is in respect to you. So what I would do is I would stay on one side until the next move would kill me, and then switch to the other side. Because if you do that,
well, I mean, but that's what you have to do, isn't it?
No. You could switch anytime you want. You can be, or if a limb's coming down, because it's not a limb every single segment. So you could hit 4 or 5 times in a row with a limb coming down before it actually kills you.
Yeah.
Which is what I would do. I would just stay until the limb was one more hit and it would kill me, and then I'd switch to the other side, rinse and repeat. And the reason why I would do that is if you're switching sides indiscriminately, the spacing is very fair. You know when the next limb is going to kill you. But if you're going fast, it can throw you off. It's not like a huge gap, it's a little gap. So if you wait until the limb is right above your head and you switch over, you know you're not going to get hit in the other way. That was just my way of keeping track of it.
Very good, very good. You know, I will say, losing to our buddy Pat's son, I call him Big Tex, but he looks a lot like Paul Bunyan. Losing to him at CoCo Fest is no No, Shane. Number one, he came in second overall, I believe. Retired for the lead. And also, he's 50 foot tall. He's a huge. He looks like a Paul Bunyan. So I think he'd probably actually cut down trees in real life. And you haven't picked up an axe to cut a tree down your whole life, I don't think.
Well, to cut down a tree, no, I certainly haven't.
That would be bad.
That'd be dangerous and stupid. I do have a tree cutting story if you want.
Please, I do want to hear this.
If you recall, Aaron, we had a tree in the front yard.
We did. We had we actually had a couple. Yeah.
Right. The last tree to go down, they were, Mom and Dad decided the tree in the front yard had to go, right?
Yeah.
So they were cutting down the tree, and I was way off, right?
Yeah.
Which I thought I was far enough away. I was not far enough away.
Yeah.
And Dad panicked. It was actually a very loving moment.
Oh.
He as the tree was falling, physically the tree was in motion of falling, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like those things just snap over. It was
it's
tilting.
dramatic when they tip over. Yeah.
Dad ran and shoved me out of the way because the tree, it wasn't like the trunk of the tree was going to hit me, but the top upper branches were going to hit me, and actually took the blow himself.
So thanks to you, Dad's probably got all kinds of injuries.
Well, yeah, it is what it is.
Why didn't this surprise me? You had a Dennis the Menace style childhood.
Well, I was only like 10 or 12 at the time.
That's pretty old, Brent, to know not to stand where the tree is. Why would you stand where the tree's not going to fall?
Well, I thought I was far enough away. That was the whole point.
Yeah, but this story didn't surprise me at all. It's amazing that you're halfway decent in this game. Review-wise, we actually got a goodly amount of reviews here, Brent. I'm going to get into them real quick.
All right.
Our good buddy.
By the way, graphics on this, perfectly fine. In fact, exceptionally good.
Yeah.
Sound, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Pajako chimes in. So I was aware of other games like this one, Mobile. I hadn't played them before, so it's another new one to me. Honestly, while this one looks good for a CoCo game, I didn't find it anywhere nearly as fun as Ghost Rush, and found myself often at tripping over myself and losing my flow. You got to get in the flow, that's for sure, the Brent.
I disagree. I think
Hold on, he's got more.
Oh, okay.
I think the main thing I wasn't a fan of on this is that you couldn't change sides without hitting the chop button. And if I'm honest, it was that mechanic that threw me off a little. I don't know if the original was the same, but yeah, I didn't quite get on with this one. I think it's pretty fun, time killer, and I'm sure other people may love it, but yeah, not something I could play for more than 1 or 2 sessions at a time. 7 out of 10, so he didn't count too bad.
I hate everything about this game.
Go ahead, rebut him real quick before I move on.
Talking about flow, I think flow is the worst thing you can have in this game because the limbs come down in such a way that you don't want flow, because flow just means you're in the groove, right? You're just going, you're going. You don't want that in this game.
You don't want
this game. You want to be able. It's react. It's all about react.
Yeah, you might be on something there, Brent. Our good buddy and CoCo genius, L. Kurtz Boyle, chimed in. He says, obviously, this is based on regular Timberman by the same author, Paul Thayer. But now with Christmas-themed graphics, Santa's chopping the tree. The ground is now white snow instead of green grass. Add is the animated snowflakes that fall on the ground while playing. The object is the same. Use your joystick to flip the side of the tree you're on to chop out a piece, which lowers the rest of the tree above you. The player has to avoid getting hit on the head by a branch. Running out and not running out of time for the next chop has to be done. This timer progressively gets faster, and the pace becomes quite frenetic. CoCo 3 only and fast pace. So, it didn't really talk about whether you liked it or not, but it was a good description of the game. I should mention, don't try to cut a tree down this way, please.
You mean with huge sections at one time? Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. And we've got it. I'll save Mr. Dave's review. Mr. Dave heard us a quick review. It's like a double, so I'll save that to the next game. But overall, Brent, I enjoyed this one. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it's, like you mentioned, great for a tournament. By the way, Curtis does chime in. I like it. Not good at it. So there you go. There's his ultimate summarization of the game. Let's move on to game number 2. Here we go. So this game here, I'll be honest with you, I'd heard of this, but I never played it. This is Ghost Rush, the Winter Edition. The Winter Edition. Now, I got a little write-up here for Ghost Rush. Is this one that was on the Brent radar?
No. I know games like this exist, but I had not played this one.
This is a Paul Shoemaker joint. I know Paul from his. I've seen some of his stuff on the CoCo Nation. All hail the CoCo Nation, by the way. Paul has done video poker squares, CoCo Ladder, Camel, Dungeon Crawl 2.0. I gotta say, some of these poker games look sharp. He's already squeezed a lot of good graphical action out of the CoCo in these. So this game, I'm going to read this is the flavor text on itch.io. The gameplay is deceptively simple. You control a ghost that is in constant motion along a circular path. The left joystick button is the only control. Press it if you want to change directions. Collect snowballs for points, but avoid falling icicles coming at you from the top and later enemies from the side. This runs on a 64K CoCo 1 or 2 or 3. And you can, on the CoCo 3, you can actually mess around with the colors if you desire. 100% machine language using 128 by 96 high-res graphics and four glorious colors. That's all you need, really. And he also mentions in his blurb here that he thanks the legendary Steve Jork for sharing his random number generator routine and Rick Adams for sharing his 4-voice music routine. So there you go. This does have little ditties in it, Brent.
It does, yeah.
Now,
they're very nice, too.
Let's boil this down to what this is. You are a Pac-Man ghost inside of a round, circular path, never-ending path. It's round. That's how that works.
Yep.
Now, there's some snow out in the background, and various animals will pop up, and a gimmick, and in the circle, you'll see a little picture. And what you're doing here is you're going around getting a dot. It's like a reverse Pac-Man. Now the ghost is getting the dot. And
snowball.
But you've got to watch out because at the top of the screen is a bunch of icicles. You know how they are. When it gets a little bit warmer, I can hear them clanging on the roof of our cabin now. There's icicles coming off the trees, but these things will fall down and hose your ghost. Brent, what did you think about this game, which is strictly a one button joint where you literally hit the button to switch directions? That's the game.
Yep. The very first time I loaded this up, I was like, oh, all right. It has a nice splash screen.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, here we go, and I'm dead. Just bam. Just literally, as soon as I hit go, I died. Yeah. I was like, well, that's not a fun start. But oddly enough, that was the only time that ever happened. This is a deceptively difficult but fun game. It's tough to make one-button games, and I think this does a really nice job.
Did we do one-button games on ARG, or was it no buttons we did?
Probably
put it on
both.
The list. We should do a one-button. I guess there are a lot of one-button shooters. Go ahead.
So, the difficulty of this game, right? All you have to do is change directions. Icicles fall down from above. Eventually, you'll have a snowman head that will attack from the left.
And that's as far as I got. Yeah. I think there's other stuff, but I didn't see it.
And it's all about knowing if your ghost will be in the path of the object if you just let him keep going.
Yeah.
If he is going to get hit by the object, if you just let him keep going, you hit the button, go the other way. And you want to collect dots as you go around. So it's super easy gameplay. This was another one, be perfect in a high score setting.
Yeah.
Or something you can challenge yourself, challenge friends with. Every time you get 150 points, you'll get a small little musical ditty, and the middle picture will upgrade to different objects. It starts at a snowflake, then goes to a mug of cocoa, and I believe a gingerbread man. I can't recall what's after that. So you have a feeling of progression in this, and I really like that.
However, the second that music's over, don't think it's gonna reset you. You're right exactly back in the same direction you're going with no pause, going the exact same way you were going.
And that is jarring.
Yeah, it is.
Because the rest of the game has such smooth flow. I do wish that it would at least reset the objects that are on the screen.
Yeah.
And it would give you a little bit of a reprieve, but it doesn't do that, and that is unfortunate. That is one thing I would have changed if having the power to do so. Also, the beginning of this game is painstakingly easy. Once you understand the concept.
I don't know, I died a lot at the beginning. You have to, yeah, you're right. Once you figure it out, baby, you're right.
You can get to like from 0 to 150, it's just the icicles falling. And from 150 to 300, it's still just the icicles falling.
Yeah.
It's not until the snowman head is introduced that the game really becomes a challenge. And it does take, it doesn't take a long time. It's just not even a couple minutes, probably 90 seconds to get from the easy stuff to the difficult stuff. But it became a chore. It became a chore for me to get to the hard stuff. Sometimes you could just get screwed and die immediately.
Yeah.
I get it, though. I enjoyed this game. Actually, I like this game more than the Timberman due to its simplicity, and I felt like I was progressing. Timberman, I got to a score that I would get to literally almost every time, and the game was just saying, this is as good as you're going to get, kid.
How far did you get past the chomping snowman head?
I never got to a new enemy past the chomping snowman head.
People in the chat tell me that there are, in the non-Christmas versions, there are other enemies beyond that, but I don't know what they are. I didn't get that far. By the way, this is also, if you're watching at home, this is me playing this one as well. And so I apologize as well. This game is the simplest game. You can set anyone down to play it.
Yeah.
Hit the button to turn direction. Don't get hit. That's the game, all right? It is deceptively simple. And once the snowman head comes charging out from the side of the script, you've gotten that many points. Was that 300 you get to?
Yeah.
Or 450. And then he comes out, then it gets a lot harder,
yeah.
exponentially harder. To the point where I wondered if you could actually get, like, if there were just points in there where you just were screwed. I couldn't. The timing is everything.
No, I don't think there's ever a point where because you can just tap the button and sort of stay in the same place.
Depending on the randomness of the things coming out with the positioning of the icicles, it seems like you can get boxed in, which happened to me. That's what happened to me a lot. And what sucked is I didn't get to practice much with the snowman head because I would die quickly. When he comes out, sometimes it catches you off guard, even though you know he's coming. It's quick. By the way, Buck Owens chimed in and said that you could actually hold the button down during the interlude to go in reverse. That's a handy tip if you're playing this at home. You know, the graphics in this lends itself to it's very Christmassy looking.
Yes.
It's almost like reverse CGA to me. I don't know what that means. It sort of reminds me of CGA, but not. The color, CGA and this 4-color CoCo setup are similar, but not the same. Like, the colors aren't exactly the same as what you would get. And the Coke, I find the blending he's got here very Christmassy and very soft. It's funny. It's soft and hard at the same time. Hard to explain because if you're just listening, everything's got it's a pink and green coloration on a white background.
Well, it's magenta.
Well,
it's magenta and sea green and white and dark magenta.
Yeah, but I mean, it works. And by the way, this also has a non-Christmas version, in case you're wondering. And so you can play this just in the normal version of this. But I mean, I really do like the color.
Do you have any way that you would improve this, Aaron?
I like what they've got going on here. I mean, there are things you could do, but it might interflow in the flow of it. You could have different shaped tracks that you go around that are always looped, you know?
Like infinity symbols.
You could have, again, not having gotten super far in the game, there may be this stuff. There could be stuff that shoots from the bottom and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that you eventually get all directions.
I suppose you could get power-ups. That might be kind of fun.
Well, what power-up would you get and why would you get it?
Well, like the ability to double-tap the jump or something, if you wanted to, you know. You asked. This game, I mean, adding things to it seems pointless because this is a screw around game or like you're waiting for the bus game. But the thing about it is, it's a high score game too. You can, much like Timberman Christmas Edition, you can sit around playing this for an hour, or you can play it for one go. I mean, but it's like the old potato chip game. It's hard just to play it one time and be like, walk away. You want to start it up again. You did mention it's got a real nice opening screen.
Yeah.
And the little tunes. You know, the CoCo has this warm, again, it's a warm musical tonage to it, especially when you use these multi-voiced songs, you know, and this has that when it plays the little tunes, and I like that. It's funny, of course. I often wonder if I just associate CoCo stuff with like warmth and joy because I had so much fun with mine when I was a kid, or that actually sounds warm, but I think it does.
No, I would agree.
I mean, the CoCo does not have a pokey chip.
No,
it doesn't have the C64 music. But I mean, what it does have, when done correctly, is very pleasant multi-tone noise. And so I've enjoyed it. Now we did get some people that chimed in on this one too, Brent. If you'll indulge me here, L. Curtis Boyle chimed in. He says, similar to Timberman, Paul Shoemaker reskinned the original Ghost Rush with a winter theme. The backgrounds have deer and evergreen trees and multi-voice musical bits that are Christmas themed. Like the original, the gameplay is very simple. You are a ghost from Pac-Man on a round track, and you can never stop moving. You can only change your direction with the joystick button. You have to eat dots. There will be one at a time in a random location on the track, while dodging various things that are moving that can kill you. And it getting progressively more difficult as you level up, which is indicated by a musical interlude and a Christmas graphic in the middle. Addicting and frustrating at the same time. Very easy to pick up, but very hard to master. It works on all three CoCos. So there's Curtis's chime in on that. Our good buddy Pajako also clicked in on this one. So I was aware of, excuse me, that's a wrong review. Let me screw back. I was going to reread the first one. So apparently I've been living under a pixelated rock for the last couple of years because I never heard of Ghost Rush. But that said, I do now. So there isn't much to this game, but what it lacks in content, it more than makes up for in the gameplay. Yeah, sure, it is a one-button game, and sure, it is frustrating as all heck, but sometimes it's super addictive, and you really have to peel yourself away from it and go pretend to be a grown-up. That I understand. I will admit I didn't get far because as soon as that snowman head comes along, the game difficulty goes through the roof, and it is easy, through your own bad gameplay skills to die quickly. The only thing I might have chosen to add is some kind of progress meter so you know how far you've got left. But really, other than that, this simple but solid game, and it's highly playable, and should get ported to more retro systems. I threw a couple bucks to buy this on itch.io, and for an hour or so of your time, you should too. 8 out of 10 on that, and we'll get to that in a minute where you can get these things. And lastly, Mr. Dave chimed in, just Dave 6309, a connoisseur of the CoCo as well. He says, most of my retro gaming is devoted to quick pick up and play games for 10 minutes. Both games have a simple mechanic and are fun to play and have nice CoCo graphics. Ratings, Ghost Rush and Timberman on a scale of 1 to 5. We are lucky to have them. So he went outside the box there. Mr. Dave's a game maker on his own right, by the way. I think this is a pleasant game. I want to mention that both these games are available at itch.io if you look for them, and they're both available in their non-Christmas versions. Also, Ghost Rush has a Halloween version, which I looked at one time. So they're pleasant games to play, and you can get them. I know that the Ghost Rush is a name-your-own-price over at Itch, and I believe Timberman is a $5 purchase. $5, you can't beat that.
Yeah. I mean, and these are games that you're not going to spend, you're not going to get 40 hours of Ghost Rush, right?
Yeah.
But you can get several hours, and you can space those several hours across several months or even years, because this is one you can pick up and go, I haven't played this for a while. Immediately get back into it. Immediately get back up to the skill level that you've obtained, because you remember these things. And have a good 2 or 3 minutes times, and then put it away. It's just that kind of game.
Here's the way I look at it, All right, so it's Christmas time, right? You got your gifts, you're packing up gifts, you're buying stuff, you're traveling, seeing all your family, you're eating, watching bowl games, crap like that. Who's got time to sit down and play like Monkey Island? Nobody, that's who. But you got time to sit down and play this, fire the CoCo up, get a couple games in between Christmas greetings and whatnot. Get a little high score action going on at your Christmas party of choice. We're going to a Christmas party, by the way, and I should have Boat fire this up over his joint when we go to that, and we'll see who's the best, and it will probably not be me.
I'm the best.
Yeah, take off. So there you go, everybody. A couple lovely games for Christmas for you to enjoy. Now, Brent, since it is the Christmas season, I felt bad because in the story I told, you didn't have any memory of it. Now, maybe because you were too young, or maybe
I was definitely too young.
You're probably too dumb. But
I'd have been like 4.
Needless to say, I wanted to experience all the love and joy of a Radio Shack style Christmas. So look, everybody, I got Brent this lovely Radio Shack Christmas gift and also a lovely card. So there you go, Brent. And while you're opening that, I want to do a little shout out here.
Celebrate.
I want to do a little shout out here to all the fine supporters of the show. You know, as we've taken over a lot of these shows from Boat, that we haven't probably been on top of our game with knowledge of all the people that support us. I want to send some notes out to all the people that to support us on the CoCo Show. I want to thank,
not signed.
And these are in no particular order. Ian Lee and Catherine Boyle, J.R. Mobley, Ken Waters, Mr. Dave 6309, Wanda Lee Chesham, Simon Aslan, R. Allen Murphy, Steve Rasmussen, Buttons, and William Becker. Also want to do a shout out to our good buddy L. Curtis Boyle, who holds our hand and guides us down the road of CoCo. Brent, what you got there, my friend? It's a genuine Radio Shack external 1200 baud modem.
It says Sears.
I got that. I walked into the Radio Shack myself and picked that up for you.
There hasn't been a Radio Shack in like 20 years.
I kept it just for this occasion. Don't worry about that dust right there. But that's a 1200 baud external.
It's filthy.
No. I mean, it's been collecting a little bit of dust.
Ugh.
Listen to me. Enjoy that. Hook that up to your CoCo with you'll have to get yourself a serial port and some phone cables, but I think you'll enjoy that 1200 baud external modem.
It doesn't have a back plate.
Merry Christmas to Brent. And I want to say Merry Christmas to all of our friends out there in CoCo land. We appreciate you guys. We hope everyone has a lovely CoCo Christmas and a CoCo New Year. And by the way, Brent, speaking of New Year's, we hope everyone will come back and join us on New Year's Eve live. New Year's Eve, 10 a.m. here on the CoCo Show, because we're going to be doing an end of the year spectacular where me and Brent get together and we're going to talk about all the highs and lows, the lows of some of these systems. Of all the shows me and Brent are doing, we're going to talk about the CoCo Show, the Atari ST Show. Yeah, that's for working on it later. We're going to talk about the ARG Present Show, and we're going to talk about our Sinclair, a big year-end wrap-up. That'll be on the 23rd, or 24th, or excuse me, that'll be on the 31st, of December. It'll be the last day of the year. Brent, are you excited for this year in review?
The caps are blown.
Yeah, don't worry about that. That's the way they made them back in the day.
It smells burnt.
No, that's fine. And of course, we're also going to be doing a big ARG Presents Christmas Spectacular on Christmas Eve. That'll be a lot of fun too, Brent. We're going to do some ARG Christmas games. And please join us next week as we have an Atari ST Christmas. God only knows what that's going to entail. But my God, we're going to do it. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, Brent. Wish everyone out there a Merry Christmas. And I hope you'll get them gifts the likes of what I got you. Merry Christmas, everybody. Until next year, have a good one. We're back, everybody.